This one is saying connect to your...
I need to have you for a minute, please.
Do you see... You didn't see all of my tissue, right?
No.
Oh, good. If so, I just would have, Hello, everybody. We're coming in, so who is that? There's my Valerie. Hello, my Valerie. Hello, darling. Shouldn't I just take off my jacket?
No, keep going. You hot?
No,
Okay.
the lights are not bothering me or anything. Hello, Vonda. Is that Vonda? I see Valerie. Oh, Mr. Taylor. Hey, Jesse Taylor. Hey, guys. We're going to be live in full effect here in just a minute. You're going to hear all the dee, 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 dee. Here's your breaking news.
So those are people watching you?
Yes. So you guys don't know, but this is
Mark Stukes.
Mr. Mark Stukes, who has all of the radio voice and TV voice and...
Interim TV show host.
Right? All right. We're about to get this in. Hello, Scott D. and Miss Ingram. Hello. How are you guys?
Popping up on you.
Yeah, it'll keep going and going and going and going. You'll see.
Okay.
Hey, you guys, if you will please do me the honor and share this, share this, share this.
Okay.
They said, hello, TV host.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's really awesome. If you guys could please share this, it'd be awesome. Share it with your groups. That'd be really great. If I don't know if any of you guys have Raymond as your friend. If not, I think if you could share it with Raymond Morris. If not, I will share it with Raymond Morris. I think this is going to be a blessing to a lot of those who are military and or military families, because that's what we're going to be discussing on this evening. How the military life affects the family.
Perspective.
From the perspective of the family. So that's where we'll be coming in tonight. So for those of you who didn't know, I mean, this is your one and only, the Mark
Stukes.
Like the Mark Stukes. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to be on here with Mr. Stukes, you guys. Chai, America.
If you all only knew.
Yes, I am here with the Mr. Mark Stukes.
This interview is only as good as she makes it. You hear me? Yep, it's only as good as she makes it. Yeah. This is my first. Can they hear me? Okay.
This is awesome. When you sit in the presence of, remarkable people. He's like, stop. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Do I tell him now? Later. All right.
That's all right. So we have the one and only Mr. Abdush-shahid. Yeah, who's back with our cameras and all of those things, making sure everything is perfect. What was that? Is he blushing? You.
Oh, me?
Valerie was asking, are you blushing?
Oh, blushing.
Yes.
Valerie, if you only knew. If you only knew.
Valerie is way out in California.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah, very good friend of mine. I love her. She's such a blessing. Definitely. Can you still see me in the other camera? Did I move out of place, or am I good to go?
Good to go.
We are still preparing, you guys. Oh, Valerie, I don't know if you tried it. I just got a text message from Alex, who is with the company that I posted. And if you need any help, I can send you Alex's telephone number if you're going to do any of the I might as well give you that information too.
Okay.
If you're going to do any of the sprint items, I'm not sure exactly what items you're picking up for your independent company, but I posted it for everybody to be able to go in if if something has been on your heart for you to work independently, work from home. I placed 3 organizations on there. It was, what was it? Oh my gosh. The 3, my phone is actually recording. It was TrendSource, it was Metro Site Inspectors, and then TrendSource. TrendSource and the Source Agent is somewhat the same organization for those of you who may be looking for a job. But it is to work from home, but it is literally, you are your own boss, but you have a choice of all these different things. Like the Source Agent, on that one alone, you're able to choose what it is that you want to do with that company. So if you'd like to be an inspector, then of course you've got to get an enhanced background check. Okay. And they have another regular background check that's like $7, and they have an enhanced background check. The only way for you to become an inspector is obviously you have to go through the enhanced. Okay. Because that's something that's nationwide. Okay. Also, the difference between the two, with the Source Agent is the only company that if someone is international, they can actually work for the United States through that company. That is the only company that you can be anywhere in the world and actually work from home, and they pay you well.
What's the name of it again?
The Source Agent.
Source Agent.
The Source Agent. I'll make sure you have all that information.
Please do. Yeah.
The other one is Metro Site Inspectors. Mind you, I don't know for those of you who may have gone on, who may have I know a couple of people have already written me and said that they actually went on, they weren't sure how to, move through the site. It's very simple. It's so simple until sometimes it's too scary for some people to have that much simplicity. Oh, okay, right. So when you go on the site, it just tells you if you want to learn more about it to sign up. So it looks like you want to sign up for their services. Okay. When in fact, if you click on the option on the Source Agent, it says on there, if you're interested in becoming an inspector or a field agent, you click there, and then it's like this small little application with maybe only 10 questions. Oh, okay. But when you send in your information, they will email you back so that you can log in, and then that's when the true process begins. Awesome, okay. So they kind of weed out.
They vet.
Right, they kind of weed out those who may not really be interested, because in order to really work for yourself, you have to also know there's a discipline that comes along with that. But with this particular agent, what I really love about it, and what probably some of you did not realize, is the Source Agent itself. When you initially go on, before even having a background check, if you don't even want a background check, then that's fine. You can still work with them, but you have to work with them as being like a mystery shopper. Right?
Mystery shopping, yeah.
Right. You can go in and you can do mystery shopping, but you have at the end of it, you have 20 questions you have to answer. Okay. You have to take a picture of the building and things like that, So they tell you exactly what to do. So you really, it's one of those things that, listen, a blind puppy can do this job, okay?
And it pays well.
And it pays well. Wow. That's the difference. Now, the Source Agent has lots of job opportunities. Okay. But you do...
Spell your name again.
Stukes, Stukes.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's okay. No, you're fine. We're just doing this so that people will understand about the job opportunities. So for the Source Agent, in order to become an inspector, you have to take the $15 enhanced background check. Okay. And that's something where they check everywhere to make sure you have no felonies.
Oh, right,
if you have felonies, that's the only thing that's going to hold you back, only as an inspector. Okay? Now, if you're going and you do a mystery shop, I don't know how that works. You would actually have to call the company to find out if, in fact, that's something they can still do. Okay. The Source Agent has a plethora of opportunities.
Okay.
Now,
Source Agent, I like that.
Now, the source agent. Let's talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit now.
Yeah.
So the source agent, as a mystery shopper, it can range from like $6 to $70 for only 15 minutes.
Oh, really?
Did you hear what I said?
$70 in 15 minutes.
Okay. Listen, and the beautiful thing about it is the fact that if you really want to make your money, you're talking about I work for $30 an hour, where I work for $30 every 15 minutes.
There you go. Okay, gotcha.
So,
right.
I mean,
So
in essence, how much do I make again? Oh, 100 and what?
Yeah,
oh, an
okay.
hour.
An hour.
Okay, so no problem. So if I only want to do certain jobs that pay a certain amount of money, I know what I'm going to get paid. Like he just texted me. He said, "Hey, tomorrow, do you mind? I have this one job is $70. Can you take care of it?" Sure. That's 15 minutes.
Okay, gotcha. So mystery shopping is.
And that's actually what I'm doing tomorrow is stepping in, because he just walking in the stores, talking to the people, not letting them know who you are, checking out. And then look, they even had one time they asked me, "Hey, Miss Diamond, can you go and order a pizza?" I kid you not. He said, "Can you go and order this pizza? But before you eat it, you got to take a picture of it and you got to answer the questions. Tell me how the person was. Tell me, like, if they announced their name, how was their presentation, did they ask you if you want to purchase additional items, what items did they ask you, all of that to check there." So basically it is you have people like let's use Sprint for example. Sprint has a third-party company that they hire that says, "Hey, we want to check out our people to see whether or not if they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing." So that's the actual intent for a mystery shop.
Okay, gotcha.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So once that is complete, right, you answer the question, take a picture of the outside of the building itself, make sure you can see the address. That's the most important part. And then from that, then you're going to go ahead and shop.
Who's
but if you buy you have to buy the pizza. If they tell you to buy the pizza, you got to buy but they reimburse you, so it's still free.
So who's actually doing this? The bosses to spy on their employees?
Basically, it's the bosses that want to check to see whether or not the CEOs who want to see what type of service their employees are providing, and where each store, what that store is producing. Why is it not producing well? Do we need a new team? Do we need new strategies? Do we need a different, what is it exactly that we need to do? See, the one thing that I did not like, I know before, even my daughter, she told me that she had tried other companies that did stuff like this, and it never produced them anything. It was something that was really frustrating for them. You understand? So I told her, I said, "Sweetheart, because you're dealing with the wrong company." So now when I thought about it, I said, now I have to put it out there so that everybody can actually have a part of it. That's because there are people that are losing their jobs like left and right. What are you going to do? Well, go and become your own inspector. The beautiful part about it, you don't have to have any training whatsoever.
I see that.
They literally will train you on everything.
And give you the questions.
And give you the questions. It's so simple. A blind puppy, like I said, a blind puppy can do it.
So does it grade from state to state? So
each state. Now I'm glad you asked that.
City,
So let's just say we're here in Maryland, right? So if they want you to go to Philadelphia, they're gonna pay for you to go to Philadelphia.
Okay.
You understand?
I'm thinking they would have other workers in Philadelphia.
They have workers in Philadelphia. But if those workers it's all whatever you request is what you get to go and do. And then they will tell you what they will and will not reimburse you for. Right? So the other thing though, now that can be the one that he sent me today was like $70, right? Okay. And that's for like 15 minutes. Again, it's for 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Look, I don't have to spend my whole day working at work.
Right.
I got a couple of 15 minutes and I can do it a day. Yeah. I'm out. I see you. So, but this other company, the other part about this is that you have companies that when you become an inspector, now that's a totally different rate that goes higher. Now, the inspectors usually start about 17, and it can go up to whoever, whatever.
Okay.
And the beautiful thing about becoming an inspector, after you have your enhanced background check, and you become an inspector, you're inspecting places that are federal government. You're inspecting places like Microsoft, Amazon. You're inspecting places like tow truck companies to see whether or not if they are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, if they're within regulations for the state and stuff like that. You're inspecting places like Costco. I'm talking big, large name companies. These are not.
And if it was the federal government, then it's somebody in the government that wants this work done. So you're not, you don't have to watch, what you're going in and saying.
No,
you can't play around
because
with
the beautiful part is when you become an inspector, right, an agent, you literally have to. They give you a speech. Everything you have to say is right there on the paper. Okay. So there's absolutely no guesswork.
Way you can go wrong. Okay.
There's no way. If you go wrong with that, it's because you did not read the information.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they give you the script to say. If a person asks you, so how did we do on that? You don't answer any of that. Right. You understand? Yeah. That's where look, I'm an actual field agent. Yeah. So that's. Yeah. You've gone through a background process, so they're going to expect that there's going to be a certain confidentiality that actually happens.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I like the source agent. The source agent, I would recommend them. They come highly recommended, but of course, look at the clients.
Yeah, is that the one you said is global?
That's the one that's global.
Okay.
Yeah, that one is global.
Okay.
Now there's another one. I posted it on my page so that other people, if they needed jobs and things like that, what they could do.
Okay.
So the second one that I posted was Metro Site Inspectors.
Okay.
Metro Site Inspectors. Now that is nationwide, only within the United States. Everywhere, but only within the United States.
Okay.
There's a downside to Metro that is not with the source agent.
Okay.
The source agent has a plethora of opportunities. Metro site inspectors, are not as bountiful with their opportunities.
Yeah, they're limited. Okay.
They're limited. So they start at $30 every 15 minutes.
That's not bad.
So now here's another reason why they're not as widespread, because they don't usually do as many smaller companies, so you won't. So they have things like SBA, they have other Small Business Administration, they have really large LexisNexis, they have Microsoft, Amazon, they go through Norton Utilities. They're more so on the government and the contract government side.
Stukes, right?
Stukes. ES.
So for them, they don't have as much because of their customer base.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
So they do have some things for like towing, they're not talking about you going out and towing a car. They're talking about you going out and inspecting the company, the tow company, to see whether or not if they're within regulations. Their standards are more strict.
Okay.
Because you're talking about contract, law enforcement agencies, stuff like that. So
those are pretty good contracts.
Those are very excellent.
LexisNexis, that's law.
Exactly.
And then, and that $30 an hour is really good.
No. $30 every 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
He's like,
This is
both of these.
Okay, both of them.
But see, the difference is with the source agent, they have some things like mystery shop, right? But they start at a lower price.
Yeah, I can see.
So, but they go up
just like
Metro.
Okay, gotcha.
But Metro starts at 30, right?
And goes
He's
up.
like,
They might not be global. They may not be
global.
global, but you know what? I'll check out Metro anytime.
But
yeah.
I tell people about both of them because one, you can be doing the things that are lesser amount. And while you're waiting for your clearances to go through.
Oh, yeah.
And all it is a public trust clearance, which is the first level, which is called a confidential clearance. And the only thing that they require with that is that you can't have a federal offense.
Federal, okay.
Yeah, a federal charge. Not just a charge, not a charge. Because you can have a federal charge as long as it was not actually...
conviction?
A conviction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So if you have a federal conviction, then of course that's not something that you can, you can do because of it being federal government clients and things like that on the Metro side. But they also have two sides of the house, just like the source agent. They have the government side, and then they have the public side where you can go to some other things, but they just don't have as many opportunities.
I see.
So that's the difference with that. And I did put those up for anyone who wanted to try that. And then, of course, one of the things that I did find out about the source agent, I decided because I've been giving out the information, I like to make sure that I've done my part, my fair share in the research.
Of course.
So when I called them, and I said, well, hey, listen, yes, I do have an account. I wanted to go through, see what this is all about, see how things are done. The source agent is so good. Listen here, y'all. Y'all say what you want to say, but I'm trying to help somebody out here, okay? The source agent, literally, after your $600, after you make your first $600, you get to make it into a full-fledged business and have people under you.
Are you serious?
Oh, yes.
Is that the umbrella?
It's not umbrella. It's your business.
Okay.
So that means now they will set things aside specifically for your business.
And you pull in your own?
And you pull in your own people. They got to go through still the same background. If they are going to be... If they're going to be just a mystery shopper, then of course they don't have to go through that background.
Okay.
But if they're going to become a field agent, then yes, they're going to have to go through the enhanced. Never, ever, 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 people use the regular $7 background check, or you will not become an investigator. I promise you that. You will not. Not an investigator. You will not become an inspector. Because the only way that you can become an inspector is if you do that enhanced background, which is $15.
And that's what you should do.
And $15, you're getting paid one of your
every 15 minutes.
Right, every 15 minutes. So I mean, you got to think about the time and the distance. The one thing that I exercise to tell others is whatever route you're going to take, you need to make sure it makes sense. What you're doing, what contracts you're accepting within a range around each other. If you're going to be in Washington, D.C., then make sure the rest of your assignments are going to be in the Washington, D.C. region.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So that you're not burning a bunch of gas and wasting more money than what you're making.
There you go.
Then, it is going to take some time for that. Hi, sir.
Don't forget, make sure you keep announcing where you're watching the Veterans TV show. On In the Community TV.
Community TV. Network.
On live.
Oh, we're going live?
Yes.
Sorry, we'll come back to that, guys. Sorry, have a good one.
Ready?
We are ready.
Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to We the Veterans TV show. I'd like to introduce myself as Mark Stukes, and I just want to...
You're the host.
You throwing me off. Okay. Look at this camera.
Yes.
Okay. Can I start over?
You're live.
I'm live. Okay. Welcome to We the Veterans TV show, brought to you by In the Community Network. My name is Mark Stukes, your host, interim host, if you will. I'd like to start off by honoring all veterans, past and present. And just to get caught up, for those of you who aren't familiar with the show, our show is about how we give information to veterans and their family members to help improve their lives and their living conditions. And one other part of our job is also to give information regardless of who you are.
That's right.
And your branch of service and where you came from. We also need your support daily. We also need the support of our people and donors to help us help other veterans and their families. Normally we come from the perspective of looking for questions for veterans from the male perspective and the female perspective. But today, what we're going to do is come from the family perspective. We're going to interview a dynamic young lady, Ms. Dymund Britt. She is a former veteran's wife, a mother, a veteran business owner, and a huge veteran advocate for homeless vets and their family members. Okay,
yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Let us talk about your family. First of all, let us tell us about your experience as a veteran's wife.
Oh my. Where would you like for me to start? From the very beginning, or?
From the very beginning, yeah, the veteran's wife. I say that because I know that there's always before the kids, okay? Yeah, always before the kids or the children, if you will. Mm-hmm.
All right. Mm-hmm. So before the kids, I was quite young. I was 18. So before the kids, it was both he and myself, and he had to go away in Desert Shield and Desert Storm, the Gulf War. He was in the Gulf War.
I see.
So with him being in the Gulf War, of course, I was still really young in the mind, didn't really know. I was an introvert at the time. Okay. So any place that my parents went is where I was going. Gotcha. That's where I found my safety. Yeah. So, I just...
So were you from a military family?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. As a matter of fact, my father is prior Marine Corps. So, raw. I love. That's right.
Yeah.
We are definitely a military family, and my dad. Thank you. Hats off to you, sir, for your service and for all those who have served. Thank you guys so much for that.
Yes, absolutely.
But yes, he was prior military, and of course that was a lot of the move and all that good jazz. But
and so it looks like seemingly you followed in his footsteps in choosing a husband.
You know, that was my mistake.
Really? Okay.
I didn't know.
Oh, and how old were you again?
I was 18.
18.
Yeah, 18. I was 18.
Well, yeah.
I didn't know, of course. I didn't have a boyfriend before it.
Okay.
You know, so it was just like, okay, well now this guy likes me. He's like, oh, I like you. I'm like, I don't like you.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, so afterwards my mom just happened to meet him one day because he came by, and he was like, you know, I want you to really like me. And I'm like, you know, I wasn't, believe it or not, I wasn't feeling boys even then. Oh, okay. It was just like, oh, you know, okay, you know, it's no big deal. I was happy being tucked underneath my parents. Okay. That was a safety for me. I wasn't your normal kid who wanted to go out and do this and do this. I did some things, but most everything I did with my family. So I was never really around like friends, you know, I didn't have the influence of the outside world, you know, if you will. So. And
it was by choice, I'm sure, because I mean, it all paid off. I mean, you weren't interested. You had your focus. You had a focus at an early age.
I did.
What I see, yeah.
I did. Okay. As a matter of fact, my Uncle Joe from Dudley Hair Products.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he
Here in Washington.
Yes,
yeah,
and that's right, in Washington, D.C.,
gotcha.
and also North Carolina, and also abroad and everywhere else.
Awesome. Okay.
He used to tell us, you know, I thank God for him. I thank God for my Auntie Frances' husband, who they gave us challenges. And I'll never forget when Uncle Joe said to me, like, that you have to dress today for your tomorrow. So even if you look back on my school pictures, a lot of my pictures, I would be in vests.
Yes.
Long sleeve shirts in professional attire with slacks.
Awesome.
Because then I was very conscious. You know, he says, you never know who you're going to meet. You only have the first time to make an impression.
That's true.
So if you have only that first time to make an impression, you better make that impression quickly and on the first time. So if they meet you and you just have on some, you know, baggy pants or something like now in today's time, you might miss out on something.
All right, Uncle Joe. I'm telling you.
But then,
words to live by. Actually,
here's the beautiful part that my Auntie Frances' husband, though, he challenged me like this. So they were very well off, and he said, the one thing that he wanted me to do was, he said, if you graduate and you have some honors, I'll buy you your vehicle, whatever vehicle you want. I'll make sure that you are totally set for college. Oh. And then we will just go from there.
I see.
We have a deal. We were all sitting by the pool. I said, listen, school, you have a deal.
Yeah.
Huh? School for me, I don't have a distraction. School for me, I have a deal for you, huh?
Right, there you go. Absolutely. There
so, of course, I graduated early. And during the summer, as a matter of fact, that summer before I graduated is when I now met the girl's dad.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And so soon after we had discussed things and time had gone by, and my mom had met him, and she says, oh, I really like this guy, and she talked to my dad, and of course my mom, and later his grandma who raised him, they began to communicate and everything like that. So next thing I know, I was off ready for marriage.
Oh, wow. Okay. And what branch of service was he in?
Marine Corps.
He was a Marine. Okay.
Marine, from a Marine family to a Marine. So I wasn't missing anything in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was familiar with that life.
There you go. Awesome.
So, yeah.
And one other question.
Sure.
How does the military life differ from civilian life and the families?
Oh, wow. That's a huge difference. Okay, so let me say this. When you're a civilian family, you have your husband, your wife, and your children. And you have your other exterior family members, yes. Nevertheless, there aren't additional pressures that you have to consider when you're going to bed at night, except for your family. As a military family, however, you have a whole lot more on your shoulders, and I think most civilians don't understand this. As a young female, I had the pressures of whether or not if he was going to pass certain tests to get to his next level. That means whether or not if we're going to do better in life, if we're going to actually be able to relax now. You know, going from an E1 to an E5 is a major difference.
Yes.
But some of the things that I think civilian families don't understand is the fact that when you're civilian, you have you and your family only to consider.
You and your okay, got that.
Military. Your spouse that is in the military has him, his family, his exterior family, and the rest of the whole of the United States to consider, to ensure their safety, to ensure that they are able to be free, that they can go to work without thinking about. Those are pressures that I don't think that even those in the military family really stop to consider for that person that is in the military, because you have your XO, you got your CO, you got your warrant officer, you got your supervisors who are your sergeants, it's a lot of pressure. And then of course, you have your MSOs that you got to do, all that stuff. And you got your PT test if you gain too many pounds, then the next thing you know.
So that can be stressful,
It can be very stressful.
So your husband, did he accommodate for the most part?
So
every time, or the challenges were sometimes overwhelming?
Honestly, I could never lie.
Okay.
This man made life easy for me and the girls.
Awesome.
I listen. Even if you separate, there's no reason why you should be so ill and so evil that you should not tell the truth in situations. No matter what, I will never say that this man, he didn't take, no. The girl's father, he was definitely a man that made sure that his household was taken care of at all realms.
That's a real man.
Yes. And even the more, while he was still like an E2, E3, he even though we had our first child by then, he went and took a second job. On top of being in the military.
I see.
It was stressful because I was in an unfamiliar place. I'm away from my mom and dad, who are basically who I knew. And then all of a sudden, I'm in this world. I'm an instant mom. I'm instantly married. I'm instantly in a world I'm totally unfamiliar with. And then I don't have any family to support me. So the military says, we have these support groups. We have all these different things. We'll make sure these things are available to you. Yet and still, there's nothing like your family, and the only thing you know is your family.
That's a lifeline.
Yes.
For the most part.
Yes. So there's a huge difference between civilian life and a military life. There's a lot more pressure on military families, needless to say, when they have to be sent abroad without their families. You don't really have too much of that, wherein, yes, your families may go abroad, but when is it that you cannot even know where they are?
Right. Okay.
You can't talk to them. They can't tell you anything about what they're doing, or if they've eaten, or, you know, when am I going to talk to you next? All you know is that phone, when it rings, you're sitting at the phone waiting.
Yeah, impatiently. I do understand. Overwhelming.
For that call. In hopes that your family member makes it back home to you. That is a stress that nobody, except for those who are maybe media, who travel abroad during the war, who travel abroad during hard times. But that is an experience that you could never understand, except that you are military. I got one.
Oh, you have one?
Yeah.
All right.
Except that I knew that this was going to be a touchy conversation. So it's something that when you're a young female, especially, and I'm going to speak this part from the female perspective, being a young female, and I was solely influenced by my parents. It was a difficult thing that lasted with me. Okay. Not that I'm not over it, but when you think back, God, you kept me, because I could have done anything. Yes. But instead, you kept me. You kept my mind. You kept me to be able to be there for my children. Amen. You made sure that, you know, no matter what, even in days, I'm telling you, there was times even we had no money. See, some people think that because you're in the military, you got it made. Right. When in fact, when you're E1, E2, E3, those are times where your bills, you are looking for that paycheck to come on the 1st and the 15th. And you're wondering, if I don't make it in the next 2 days, one thing I can say, with the military families, there's usually such camaraderie that you don't even find in the civilian world as much anymore. Okay. You have those back people where you can say, hey, bro, look.
The neighborhood.
Yes, exactly. Okay. That community.
There you go.
That you can say, listen, all I have is corn. What you got? Really? Oh, yeah, I got some mashed potatoes. And somebody else is like, oh, I got this. That camaraderie in the military is remarkable. You can't find it.
I hear you.
We have been out of the military, and I have yet to find that kind of community. Yes, okay. That community only resides in those that I literally had that community with in the military.
Okay, gotcha.
The new people that I meet, they are nothing like the community.
I see what you're saying.
In the military.
That's true. Yeah.
Right now, I was sick in the bed. I couldn't even get up. Guess who came? No civilian. Military family.
Neighbor, yeah.
I'm not talking about your pastors, your this, your that. None of them even came. Not that they didn't want to come.
Right.
But they traveled. But even the members in the church. Yeah. Guess who came? They were members of a church. But they were my military family.
Next door neighbor.
Come on here, that community.
On the base.
Exactly.
Yeah,
my former military family.
Awesome.
Now, mind you, I have a lot of community people out here on Facebook that I can rely on more so than the people that live around me.
Okay.
I have these people who will call me day in. Sis, how are you doing? I'm praying for you. Oh, sis, I want you to know that everything is going to be all right. They got that word of encouragement like Paul. Yeah. But then you got these ones that are here with you right here. Oh, I got your 6. Look, we're side by side. I got you. But you're right here with me.
Awesome.
And you don't do. Yet and still, I can rely on someone who's halfway across the world.
Yes.
I can rely on people in California that I can say right now.
Okay.
Valerie being one of them. Pastor Carl.
And I've met her.
Stephen Dixon.
Yes.
I can name various ones. Katrina, my daughter.
Okay.
I can name different ones who I know, even if they don't hear from me. they're going to say, sis, wait a minute. Let me send her a text.
The power of social media.
Come on here.
Yeah.
Social media. Yes. And then those that you've known within that community in the military.
Yes.
Combine those two together. It's
never
remarkable.
Out of touch. Never out of touch.
It's remarkable.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me just remind you, We the Veterans TV show, we are brought to you by In the Community Network, and what we are speaking about is the military family from a family perspective, and we have Miss Dymund Britt giving her all in all and testimonial, and we love it and appreciate it, and we have more questions for her, if you will.
All right.
Okay, let me see. Let's say, what emotional effects does the military life manifest on the children? In terms of their mindset, the things that they actually go through, because children don't like to talk about what's going on with them. You really have to pull it out. But I can only imagine when Daddy's gone, Mommy's gone. There's stuff going on.
Oh yeah.
So what is your view?
You know, thankfully, I thank God my kids were small.
Oh, okay.
And don't even really remember.
Oh, okay, right.
But there is a subconscious type of thing that still lasts if you don't break it.
Yeah, okay.
So, even though they were younger, they were used to every morning, they were used to their dad getting up, rubbing their heads like this.
Okay.
Every day, rubbing their heads like this. Hi, knucklehead. How you doing?
Yeah.
Giving them hugs and all the daddy stuff, right? He would play with them, all of that stuff. Nevertheless, when he wasn't there, I would have tugs on my jacket. Mommy, where's Daddy? He's working.
Okay.
So I found it myself.
Okay.
Now, having to give them excuses to make up for why Daddy is not here.
Excuses?
Excuses. Okay. Let me explain. Kids don't and should not always be opened to knowing everything about what's going on in the household.
I agree.
Now, granted, I wasn't going to lie to them.
Right.
Oh, you know, your dad will be home later on. No. Daddy's at work. He has to stay at work for a little while.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real, but at the same time, protecting them while they're young.
Okay.
You understand?
Gotcha.
So it was like, okay, you know, and then when they started getting older, and they're like, okay, where's Daddy? And I'm like, okay, now I gotta handle this different, because it's no more where's Daddy, and you know, you can. It's the end of the conversation, but they actually have a conversation. But the thing that becomes missing, like you said, as the kids get 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, they start climbing up, because now they're like, wait a minute, hold on a second, Daddy's not here. He's in the military. We've been seeing war on TV, and we've been seeing this. What exactly is happening? You know, at some point, you have to give them some realism, but it affects them in school. It affects them as an individual. At one point, my middle daughter, she was saying how she went through and became emotional. So she started finding herself in a position of what's called emo. It was where emotional.
Gotcha.
And kids with emotional difficulties and not knowing how to handle that considered themselves emo.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was just like, you know, I'm just, you know, she clammed up. She would make sure that she's smiling on the outside. But in the inside, she never talked about how she was actually suffering. So even the younger daughter and even my eldest daughter, not until they became adults did they verbalize what was really happening with them.
So teachers never picked up on things like that. Something's going on. She probably needs a little counseling. Well, I'm sure your instincts kicked in as well. But you know, you just you're monitoring the whole situation the whole time.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
I monitored it, and I would see things that were happening. And sometimes, you know, even as a mom, I was younger, so I wasn't as wise in the word. I wasn't sure. I would go to my bishop and I would ask him, you know, oh, I'm seeing this, I don't know what to do. But even they were not skilled enough in the military family. I really mean this wholeheartedly. Not that it puts down the leadership at all, but we have to find ourselves in the position in leadership, especially when it comes to those who are in the church. you've got to learn. You got to go through some training, people. Come on, hear me. You got to go through some training, because if you don't know how to deal with military families, and especially if you're in a military area like we are here in Washington, D.C.,
yes, true.
If you don't really know how to handle that, you're going to fall by the wayside, because people coming back from the military with TBI, which is traumatic brain injury, PTSD, you have military sexual traumas, you know, people being raped, men and women in the military. There's all kinds of things. You know, you have those who are speaking derogatory things to those who are, you know, underneath them. You know, it's a lot of different things that happen. So when you stop and start thinking about the abuses even that are happening in the military. I was raped in the military. So I understand. So when people talk to me about stuff like that, they think, oh, she doesn't understand. I'm sorry. This was a warrant officer.
Did I understand you right? Was that?
Yes.
You were raped?
I was raped.
In the military?
At the gym. And I called out for help, and nobody came.
This was on
I was out in the parking lot.
Okay.
And the guy, and when I finally went to my spouse, and I told him it was one of the most difficult things I ever lived through. I used to sit in my closet for 2 months, crying every night, waking up in nightmares. And I would be rocking in the closet like, oh God, what am I supposed to do? I never told my husband for 2 months.
2 months?
The day before my birthday, it happened. And I said, I was saved at the time, thank God. But I was just like, I don't know how to deal with this. I went to my bishop. I talked to my bishop. You know what my bishop told me? He said, go and talk to my wife. I went to his wife, and I told his wife what happened. And I said, I want to talk to my husband, but I'm afraid of what he's going to do. I said, because I know he's going to go off. You can't have a wife who's a virgin, and then now somebody has touched your wife. Do you understand what that does to him? And I asked her, what do I do? You know what she said to me? She said, well, what do you want me to do? I said, what? I said, I'm asking you for help. She didn't have any help. The church didn't have anything to tell me. So I was falling literally away at the seams. I couldn't get in my car because it happened in my car. I couldn't get in my car. I couldn't drive a car. I couldn't leave my house. I was afraid to go outside my door. So for months, finally, one day I came in, and I sat, he was asleep on the couch, and he was leaning back, and when he leaned back, I came in, I saw him sleep, I just knelt right at his feet. I couldn't take it anymore. I was so tortured in my mind.
I can imagine.
And I just knelt at his feet, and I just cried, and he woke up, and he saw that I was crying, and he asked me, what's going on? And I had to tell him, I said, but what I asked him to do, I said, if I tell you, promise me, you will not call the police. Promise me, because I knew the guy had threatened my life. He threatened my children's life, and he threatened my husband's life and career. So I knew that I did not want to have to deal with that. However, after all of that, and he was upset, he was angry, and I knew. So I'm like, oh my God, like, you called the police? And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh my God. And I freaked out. I just freaked out. I shook. It was so bad. And they took me through the same thing they took me through. It took Michael Jackson through. They took pictures, all kinds. I felt so horrible. So when people say, hey, I don't know what to do. I've been raped. What do I do? How do I get through this? I'm telling you from experience where I've been. I thank God I've never been there again. And I know for sure I won't be back there again.
Amen.
Because the training that I have now, had I had it during the time, it wouldn't have happened. But I thank God that I survived.
There's a spirit.
And definitely, after going through all of that, persevering, our marriage still sustained. It was difficult, but it still sustained. And the man who was the warrant officer, I found out he had a wife, 2 children, a male and a female, and he lived in North Carolina. And they came back to us. They saw all the evidence. They saw the scratches and all kinds of things. And they processed, of course they charged him and everything. And then he told them, no, but it was consensual. But then they had to go back and look at the videotape and see that it absolutely was not. on the exterior of the gym where my car was parked right in the front. Had I not gone through it, I probably wouldn't be the individual that I am today.
Yeah, you're a beautiful person.
To me, I always find solace in my mom and my dad. So I would pack up every weekend. I would go drive to North Carolina to my parents because I found my safety there. I knew that if I got to my parents, I made it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I knew I made it. I don't know about that. That was always my shield.
Yeah, that got you.
I knew that if I can make it to my mom and dad, I can. For me, it was literally like a spoonful of sugar.
Okay, gotcha.
Every time I go to my parents, if I feel down in any way, if I can just make it to my parents, that's why I told God. I said, God, right now, listen now, let's have this, conversation now. Don't take my parents anytime soon.
Right, I know what you mean.
Don't take them because I need them still. There you go. So I was like, I told God, don't take me until I'm 125. That means you can't take them until they're much older.
Gotcha.
So, but the most difficult times, I always found myself going back to my support group.
Yes,
And my family, not just my mom and dad, but my siblings, my aunties and uncles, a lot of them on my mom's side, who's American, live there. So, of course, I always went back to that family because my other family is in Jamaica. So, I always found myself most closest to those in New Bern, North Carolina. It made it easier. And the other things that I did, I made sure that I did a lot of different things with the kids to keep their mind off of the stress. Absolutely. So I would take them on nature trails. We would go mountain climbing. We would go sailing out on, because I had a boat at the time. We would go sailing. We would do all kinds of stuff.
So were you on base housing?
No, now, it's odd. I always wanted to live in base housing, but their dad did not want to do that. So I always followed suit with my head.
I see what you're saying, right? Of course. Yeah. There you go.
So whatever it was, I said, whatever happens, however, wherever we go behind you. So I had no problem in submitting.
I see what you mean. Okay, awesome.
No big deal.
Okay, one other question. How was communication during the absence of your spouse? Communication, talking with them, getting in touch with them. How frequent? How not less frequent?
That.
But in itself, as I can imagine, being a stressor. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. You got me doing this again, huh?
Oh, right. Okay, you got your tissues, right? Okay.
that alone, that was a major stress. And I know, I remember. I recall one night he called me, and this was in the heat of just before the Gulf War took off.
Just before, okay.
And he calls me, and he says, listen, if I don't come back.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Please tell the kids that I love them. He told me things that he wasn't actually authorized to tell me, but he said, all night, all I heard was missiles over my head. He said, and I didn't know when the next one was going to drop on us. He said, but tell the kids that I love them. And so we were talking, and the line cut.
Oh, man. Okay. Oh, boy.
I screamed. I sat at the phone all night. I did not sleep, waiting for that phone to call back. Didn't get the call. So my mom, I was at my parents. My mom I was sitting watching the news all that night, and this is when, if any of you guys remember, all the missiles was up in the sky.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm looking at this, and I'm devastated.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, there was a next day. The news station was doing a reporting, trying to check on our military personnel.
Yeah.
And just as I had just got up off my knees praying, and I said, God, I need peace. If you just let me see him, just let me know that he's okay. And the cameraman turned the camera.
Wow, awesome.
And I saw him.
Amen.
And I called for my mom. I was like, Mom. My mom came running upstairs, and she looked. I said, it's Kevin, look. Yeah. And so she goes, oh, my God. Thank you, God. And so we just started praising God at that point.
Right from there, yeah.
So, yeah, that.
I see he didn't mollycoddle, the situation. He kept it real because as serious as it was, he just prepared you a little bit. And that's just a life. That's just life, You can't go trying to babyfy the situation.
No.
He knew what was going on, and he wants you to know pretty much what was going on. And just in case, tell my daughters that I love them.
Yeah, it was it's one of those things that still tug at my heart. Yeah, not that I'm not over it, but it's one of those things when you think about that.
Yeah.
And you think about the grace of God that he allowed you to see
him. Yeah, awesome.
Not everybody gets that. No. You understand? So I knew from young I was special.
Your prayers was answered.
I knew that I was special.
Wow.
Because I kept saying, God, I was like, if you would just please, I can't sleep, I can't rest. What I'm asking you, if you would just let me see him. And it was not even 15 minutes.
Instantly.
The cameraman moved, and there he was. And when he came back, my mom said, oh, we saw you on news. Next time they showed it, we had already had the video camera waiting to record it.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
so that we could show him, and we showed him.
There you go. Yeah. Awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. I mean, you never know, but our higher power
absolutely
always works, and he comes when you call him. Amen.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Let me just sign out here right now. We thank you, Mrs. Dymund Britt, for coming on our show and giving us the family perspective of being in the veteran's life. Thank you all for joining us out there. I'd just like to say, in the community network appreciates your viewership as well as the Veterans Network. Thank you for veterans in the community. Amen.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Likewise.
Come on, bring it in.
There you go. Yes. All right. I forgot. I didn't know you went through all of that, girl.
Oh, yeah, listen, life has been a box of chocolates.
Okay.
I never know what I'm going to get.
Good show.
Let's go. Okay. I was trying to go from that sign, but you was right there. I was like in the community network, and I was going to go the veterans thing, yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us.
You did a great job. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all your help.
Oh, no, you're very
That was my
welcome.
first one. Very first one. Thank you. Excuse me? Okay. Hey, awesome, right? This girl is a powerhouse, believe it.
Well, you know, this is actually going on television for those of you who didn't know. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And yes, we do appreciate you guys and your viewership. And we do look forward to seeing you next time.
Very stirring, absolutely.
Yeah. That's life. The simplicities of life, but yet we grow as long as we allow ourselves to grow. And as long as we grow in grace, then we will allow ourselves to climb higher. That's the difference.
Words to live by.
Yeah. So, you guys, y'all know how I do it. This is Mr. Mark
Stukes.
You guys, the one and only Mr. Mark Stukes.
It has been a pleasure and an honor interviewing Mrs. Britt.
Thank you. Yep. It's been great. And, of course, we have Mr. Abdush-shahid in the community. networks. So we have a few other shows that are coming up as well. So we have some really exciting things that has happened on today. You guys, we're going to have an opportunity. We will be with the NAACP as well. And we have a few others that'll be joining us. So there are some major things that are happening. For those of you who saw that I had started a new page, I did actually start a new page. However, that page got shut down by Facebook, so I'm still using my regular page. So yeah, so we are definitely climbing, and we look forward to having you guys with us more and more as we continue to climb. I tell you what, big things are happening, and now you guys are going to start seeing the fruits of the things that I told you that were coming to pass. It was just a matter of timing. That's all that it was. It was a matter of timing, but we thank God that we made it. We made it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yep.
So, you guys, this is Lady Diamond, and this is
Mark Stukes.
And we are signing out. Blessings.
All right, stay there, please. I'm gonna do it.